Rabobank's Benjamin Picton is out with a new report warning the global economy is being, quote, reorganized before our eyes into two competing blocs centered on the US and China, with more countries progressively lining up to join the China side. He cites an April speech by Christine Lagarde, the head of the European Central Bank, who warned that, quote, we are witnessing the fragmentation of the global economy driven by China, where she noted that historically, these kinds of divisions have led to higher inflation, shrinking economies, and falling trade. This echoes similar recent warnings from the IMF about, quote, structural decay, shrinking economies in future. This division is accelerating as the US and China tit for tat over political disputes. Recently, China limited the export of raw materials for semiconductors to the US, while the US is likely to retaliate with restrictions on providing cloud computing services, which are a critical element of AI. So what is driving countries to China? Larry Summers captured it recently, saying that an African diplomat told him that when China comes, they bring a checkbook. When the US comes, they bring a lecture. So China's longstanding approach to third countries in Africa, Latin America, or Asia has been to encourage them to get rich so that they can buy Chinese exports, but otherwise not to interfere in their domestic policies. They indeed bring big checkbooks, building free airports or railroads in return for being able to buy and build natural resources like oil or copper. So China gets the raw materials. The home country gets free airports, plus it can actually monetize a resource that was sitting unused, and China gives them no grief if they are a dictatorship. In fact, China actually helps those countries remain stable by helping them suppress domestic dissent, such as the color revolution type university movements we saw in the Arab Spring. In essence, China is trying to make the whole world into a Singapore, politically stable, one-party autocracy that gets rich and buys Chinese stuff. In contrast, the U.S. uses foreign policy now as a tool for domestic activists, pushing everything from union policy to LGBT rights, including in places like Libya or Afghanistan, where they should know better, and now extending to longtime allies like Uganda or Japan also being pressured on LGBT. Last year, the U.S., of course, upped this game, crippling the U.S. dollar as a reserve currency by seizing Russia's central bank dollars to try and crash their banking system. That put the whole world on notice that we will crash you if we don't like you. So China tells these regimes that we want you rich and secure. The U.S. offers instability and impossible woke political demands. Brilliant. So what is next? A recent paper from Cornell and Boston College calculated that organizing the world into protectionist Warsaw Pact-style blocks mildly boosts the dollar in the short term. It locks one side in, but sets in motion a steady deterioration that makes the dollar's ultimate loss of dominance, quote, far more likely. So how to stop it? Easy. A more humble, less interventionist policy that learns to respect and tolerate other countries without becoming a world policeman who uses every regional conflict or difference of opinion as an excuse to pick one side and make them into a fresh enemy. China is successfully luring countries one by one into its anti-dollar bloc. The US needs to stop doing their work for them. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.